Time now for the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
That's right. Welcome to the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge right here on WYKR. I'm Josh, and we've got another great show lined up for you. This week, Gary sits down with Rebecca Budd of the Connecticut River Conservancy to talk about the planned removal of the Wild Ammonoosuc Dam in Landaff. We'll learn why this nearly century-old dam is coming down, what project means for the river, and how reconnecting miles of cold water habitat could benefit brook trout and other wildlife. And also, we have on our summer activities report, I talk with Todd Holt about something every hiker ought to think about before hitting the trail: sprained ankles, hiking injuries, and how a little preparation can keep the day in the woods from turning into a rescue. And also, too, we're planning on Mark Breen from the Fairbanks Museum to join us for another Outdoor Edge forecast. So once again, we are chucker-block. I love saying that word, chucker-block. We are chucker-block full right here on the Outdoor Edge. And this is also going to wrap up because it is August. It's going to be wrapping up our summer activities report, and then in September we're going to start talking about more of the foliage and the fall reports, and then from that, then we're going to be jumping into our hunting reports, and then we're going to, after the hunting reports, as you know, we'll go into our snowmobile reports, and then our sugar. I don't know about you guys, but this summer has swung by, and it went by fast. Well, anyway, let me get the intro queued up right here, and we're going to jump right into it with the intro music, and then you'll hear Gary Moore on his thoughts on the out of doors segment coming up right now.
Good evening. Welcome to Thoughts on the Out of Doors. My guest tonight is Becky Budd from the Connecticut River Conservancy. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you, Gary, for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, for you listeners out there, the primary reason we're here tonight is to talk about the removal of the dam on the Wild Ammonoosuc up in Landaff that's owned by Woodsville Power and Light. But before we get to that, Becky, tell us a little bit yourself and why you're responsible for this removal.
Well, when I first decided to get into this, I went back to school at UNH to get a master's degree in environmental conservation. Mm-hmm. And I took a little hiatus to be a parent, and then started working again at the Nature Conservancy as an AmeriCorps member.
Okay.
And when my service...
The Nature Conservancy, where were you working out of?
Oh, yes. I actually live in Massachusetts. And at the time, I worked in the office in Northampton, Mass.
Okay. All right. For the Nature Conservancy.
Yes. And when I did 2 terms of service, and when they were up, I applied for a job as a conservation assistant and a project assistant, and got it. Uh-huh. And slowly evolved my duties to incorporate dam removal. And it was my dearest wish, actually, and and I've gotten it. And this one is probably I've worked on many removals, actually.
For the Conservancy? Or
yes. For Connecticut River Conservancy. Okay. But this is the first one that I have taken from grant writing through design, through construction, and implementation. So I'm pretty proud and pretty excited that it's happening right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Ron Rhodes many times about this. It's not just as simple as what we see at this end of it. It takes a lot of effort to get the grant money, to write those grants, and it's always a partnership with many different entities, everything from often Trout and Living is involved, so forth. So, these things take a lot of work to put them together.
It's true. Most dam removals take between 3 and 5 years. Some, and I have a few that are going to take more. So it's always a privilege to work on one that moves along quickly. We had enough grant funds. We had a great engineer to do the design and a great construction firm to do the implementation.
That's for this dam we're talking about on the Wild Ammonoosuc. Yes, for
Wild Ammonoosuc. It's on the short side, 3 years from the beginning of our grant writing to now.
Great. Would you tell the listeners a little bit about why such a large effort to be made to remove these dams that are no longer in use?
Well, dams provide a barrier to fish and other aquatic organisms, so they can't access upstream pools for thermal refuge and feeding and spawnings and so forth. It also hinders natural sediment transport. And if you look at the Wild Ammonoosuc site right now, you can see upstream is very cobbly and natural looking, and then below the dam is very clear and exposed bedrock and hardly any cobble.
Right.
So that natural transport will happen once the dam is removed and become maybe indistinguishable, hopefully.
Yeah.
Once the project is done.
Is Trout Unlimited involved in this project at all?
Not this project.
Okay.
No. We have a great group of partners. We are partnering with, of course, Woodsville Water and Light.
Right.
The U.S. Forest Service, because it's
in the forest.
It is
it's
on their
the White
land.
Mountain National Forest.
Correct.
Okay.
And Woodsville Water and Light had to get a special use permit to operate the water supply dam originally when it was first built in 1929. And that permit is actually going to be retired, or whatever they call it, discontinued,
expired,
or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, and that's probably the first one that my partner at U.S. Forest Service has ever actually retired.
Oh,
yeah.
Now, I know this was owned or is owned by Woodsville Power and Light. Was it used to generate hydro downstream? I mean, like their hydro plant up here?
No, this was a water supply.
Just for drinking water?
Yep.
Okay.
And there's pipes that go along the river down into the village of Woodsville.
Okay, so this was for drinking water.
Yes.
Okay. And they no longer need it, obviously, or they wouldn't be taking it out?
They revamped their water supply system in, I think it was in 1990. And ever since, this dam has just been slowly eroding over time.
Sure. Oh, good. And that's the case with a lot of these dams. They once served a purpose, and no longer do. There are several removed within sound of this radio station. One not very far away that Ron removed up in Groton. Another one up in East Burke. Last year I was up and visited one he was removing in North Stratford. Another one down in Springfield, Vermont. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of there used to be a lot of small dams for water power, for whatever, small mills and so forth. And I know as a former commissioner of Fish and Wildlife in Vermont, they do impede the passage of fish and all things that live in the river. So getting them out, that's why Trout Unlimited gets involved in so many.
The other interesting thing about our project is that there will be part of it is a floodplain restoration, because in the process of building this dam, they use part of the floodplain to deposit some of the materials.
Okay.
So it's artificially high. And part of the project, our contractor is going to be removing that excess fill and bringing it down to a more natural floodplain level to restore access.
So the water can spread out in high flood.
In a high flow, yep.
Okay. That's important. Well, this project started a few days ago? I mean, the actual in the river work.
Well, interestingly, this particular dam was identified in, I think it was 2016. There was an Upper Mitigation Enhancement Fund project to identify in a specific service area to identify all the most important dams that could be potentially removed and restored, like the biggest restoration bang for the buck.
That was the enhancement fund as a result of relicensing 15 Mile Falls.
Yes. And this one was on the list.
Right. Okay.
So fast forward to 2023 or two, we got a little outreach grant to look at some of the remaining dams on the list to see if anybody would be interested in pursuing removal. And we contacted Woodsville Water and Light. New Hampshire DES also did some outreach to them, and it became like apparent that it would be the most practical thing to do. So they were on board.
Good. I think that's a good place for us to pause.
So where's the big deal?
Holy schmoly, it's Matt LeCuyer at the Auto Saver Group, St. Johnsbury, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. It's the Jeep Adventure Days here in St. Johnsbury, and this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Are you ready to conquer new horizons? Introducing the 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo X, where rugged meets refined. Experience the thrill of the open road and the peace of mind that comes with Jeep's legendary reliability for only $449 per month. Stop by today in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, or shop us on the web at stjohnsburycdjr.com. It's the Jeep Adventure Days here at St. Johnsbury, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram.
Leases for 39 months, 10,000 miles per year. year. 32,500 total miles. Plus F Stellantis brand lease and household. Tax title registration not included in lease. Plus lease with Stellantis. Offer expires 9/30/2024.
Every business story starts small. As you share your story, it creates movement, and movement builds momentum. Your social media and website are the conduits for that story. It's about more than clicks and views. It's about creating connection, community, and opportunity to do business. It's time to tell your story. Go to northeastkingdomonline.com. Our local Vermont team can help you get more from your online media. Once again, that's northeastkingdomonline.com.
Miles Supply, your stop for all your general business products, paper towels, toilet paper, first aid kits, and more. Purchase your paper and soap products from Miles, and they'll install the dispensers for free. Do you own a salon, restaurant, coffee shop, or gym making a monthly run to the big box store for your business supplies? Save time with Miles Supply. Call today for a sales visit, 476-3963, or walk directly into their showroom, 143 Boynton Street next to Spalding High School. Miles Supply, family-owned and building relationships since 1954.
Being a dog person means carrying treats in every pocket, apologizing for fur on your clothes, and spelling words like WALK so nobody gets too excited. Countrified Kennels LLC helps make life with dogs a little easier through board and train programs, private lessons, puppy training, and obedience and behavior support. They work with dogs of every breed and age throughout Caledonia County. Your dog may always run the house, but better manners can help. Visit countrifiedkennels.com.
Welcome back to Thoughts on the Outdoors. If you're just joining me tonight, my guest is Becky Budd from the Connecticut River Conservancy. She's the project manager on the undergoing effort right now to remove the dam on the Wild Ammonoosuc up in Landaff, a dam that's owned by Woodsville Water and Light. Becky, you want to tell us a little about what's actually happening?
Okay. We've been on site since July 8th. So over a month now.
Okay.
And a lot of preparation goes into it before you get to hammer out the dam, which is what everyone wants to see.
Right.
But in this case, we needed to prepare access across an existing ford. The U.S. Forest Service really didn't want us to be driving multiple dump trucks, and the New Hampshire DES didn't want us to be crossing the rivers multiple times.
Not.
So we built an access bridge using like timber bridges.
Okay.
And that had to be designed specifically as detailed as any design needed to be.
Right, because some pretty heavy equipment's got to go across it.
Correct. And to U.S. Forest Service specifications, because it's on their land.
I was going to say, this whole project is on U.S. Forest Service land, I believe.
Yes,
okay.
It is. There is an existing old access road that goes along the river that was used to access the dam and the
right where the gates
the works
were
and the way they were maintaining the gatehouse and so forth, and that got improved, and so it was just a little bit overgrown with saplings, and they just cleared that so the equipment could get down easily, and then they had to do some other clearing. And actually, I should back up a little bit. We needed to do some tree clearing to provide some staging areas and access around the dam so that we could get the equipment in. And that actually had to happen before bat season started. So way back in early spring, snow was still on the ground. So we had to fell the trees. So then...
That was to provide so they wouldn't have nesting sites.
Correct. And so... Then fast forward to July, and they had to sort of clean up the site because we just left everything, didn't want to disturb the ground and everything. Then they had to provide water, what they call water diversion or water control, and that is basically sandbags that make the river go to one side or the other so they can access.
So they're not actually working in the free-flowing river.
Right.
You move the river back and forth depending on where you're working.
Right. So once that was done, we could start hammering on the dam. And believe it or not, that took quite a while. It took about 3 weeks to do all that
preparation. Yeah.
And the actual spillway removal part went very quickly, maybe 3 or 4 days.
Oh.
So what's remaining now is the concrete retaining walls and the gear structures and the sluiceway and all that, and the foundation that the pump house used to sit on. That is now in the process of getting hammered out.
Okay.
So.
The day I was there was like the second day they started hammering a lot of concrete, not as much rebar as there might have been, but that can be a problem at times. But when you're done, all the concrete, all the wing, everything will be gone, right?
Yes, we're restoring that whole side back to a natural
slope
and floodplain. The other part about this, because there is going to be floodplain restoration, there was an old concrete wall that extended from the old gatehouse into the floodplain about 200 feet, and that is getting excavated and removed as well.
Okay. Well, by the way, just out of curiosity, where's all this concrete and rebar go?
This is all going to Chief's Pit.
Oh, Chief Bogey.
Yeah.
Okay, his crew.
He also helped Mike Lynch out with some welding and to remove. I forgot the order of operations. There was a bridge there and a house that all had to get removed before we could ever start on the dam.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a dim memory already from 2 weeks ago.
So was the house on the side of the river away from the highway?
Yes.
Okay, that's where the old access road was.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And there was a bridge that went to the little turnaround that's on the other side of the road.
Okay.
So that's all been taken out.
So they've removed the dam as of we speak, and are now working on the gatehouse, the sidewalls, and so forth.
The gatehouse was actually the first thing to go. I forgot to say it.
Okay, no problem.
I'm in the moment. I'm already in the concrete area. But yeah, we first took out the gatehouse because that made it easier to access because it was just in the way of everything. Yeah.
The company, the contractor that's doing this work, they've done work for the Conservancy before on dam removal. You know, I think I met some of them up in North Stratford last summer.
Yes. They've done a few for us. They're an excellent crew, very conscientious.
What's the name of the company?
It's Lynch LLC. It's Mike Lynch is the main contractor.
Is he out of
North Stratford?
North Stratford. Yep. Okay. Good. So they know what they're doing.
They do.
I mean, dam removal is different than a lot of things.
It's true. Contractors need real in-water experience to
because
understand how to do it.
They can't be working in the water. That's part of all this diversion you're constantly doing,
But they're extremely conscientious. Everyone who's visited so far has remarked on how clean the bedrock was where the dam used to be because they poured the concrete right on top of very, convoluted bedrock pieces and they chipped every single bit off. So everyone has said, wow, that looks really clean. Right. So we're really pleased.
Well, that's a goal, right? Yep. The goal you had. Yeah. The day I was there, somebody from one of the local towns right there stopped and was watching. It's that little pull-off. I bet you get a lot of visitors.
I do. I've gotten a few.
Yeah.
Well, most everybody's been really encouraging and really supportive.
But then you get a chance to explain what and why and how, right?
I do. And I get that fanatical gleam in my eye about how great the project is. And they start to slowly back away to their car. I'm not kidding. Yeah. They're like, thanks.
Yeah. I guess I can understand that. But I imagine most everybody's glad to see the dam being removed.
Yeah. They do like to know why.
Yeah.
And one of the most common questions is it going to be a park on the other side? And because it looks like there's construction happening, but the answer is no. It's going to be a floodplain. And at the end, when all of the heavy equipment is done, we're going to replant that area with native trees and shrubs.
Okay, so good.
There's more to the project even when this construction season is over.
Yeah, okay. I think that's another good place to pause.
It's a St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
When you're stuck on the side of the road, call Precision Towing and Recovery in Corinth. They offer light and medium duty towing, recovery, roadside assistance, and equipment hauling. Their soft strap, no scratch method ensures safe handling, perfect for family cars or classics alike. Fully insured and locally trusted, they're ready around the clock to get you moving. Learn more at PrecisionTowingAndRecoveryVT.com. Precision Towing and Recovery, Corinth's dependable roadside team.
We live somewhere incredible, and all of us at the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department want you to make the most of it. Hiking, hunting, birding, fishing, or even just sitting by a stream for a few minutes after work. Vermont's woods and waters make it possible, and protecting them is our responsibility. So we hope you'll lace up your boots and hike an Old Woods Road on one of our wildlife management areas or put in for a day at the lake at one of our access areas. We protect these places for their own sake, for the wildlife who call them home, and for you.
When the sun is high and the to-do list grows, it's time to call the folks who know. From mudroom builds to summer repairs, Batchelor shows up and truly cares. Remodels, upgrades, porches too. No job too small, they'll see it through. So make this summer your best one yet. With vtcarpenter.com, your safest bet.
I'm John Pellegrini with the Vermont Sporting Journal. If you care about hunting, fishing, trapping, wildlife, and the outdoor traditions that make Vermont special, I invite you to pick up a copy of the Vermont Sporting Journal. We cover the stories, seasons, people, and issues that matter to sportsmen and women across the Green Mountain State. Pick up your free copy at most hometown convenience stores or read more online at VermontSportingJournal.com. Once again, VermontSportingJournal.com.
Welcome back to Thoughts on the Outdoors. If you're just joining me tonight, my guest is Becky Budd from the Connecticut River Conservancy. She's the project manager on the dam removal effort that's underway right now on the Wild Ammonoosuc over in Landaff. Perhaps, Becky, we should tell people a little bit about the Conservancy. It is the Connecticut River Conservancy, but in fact, and most people know the Connecticut River is New England's longest river, starting at Fourth Lake, just below the Quebec border in Pittsburgh, going to Long Island Sound. But notice we're talking about the watershed, which is not just the river. It's all the tributaries, all the riparian efforts around. And most of these dams that you people have been removing have been on tributaries.
Correct.
And the mission, I believe, of the Connecticut River Conservancy is to clean up the whole river, to return as much of it as possible. I know they've been heavily involved in erosion control, planning riparian plantings and so forth. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Conservancy?
Well, I'm part of the restoration team, but we also have a team of river stewards that act as the face of the organization and interact with the public. They do a lot of advocacy work on hydroelectric dams and permitting renewals. And then we have
a Vermont steward and then a Hampshire steward.
There's one in each state.
Correct.
Yep.
And I know that they've both been heavily involved in the relicensing of Wilder, Bellas Falls, and Vernon.
Yes.
Which has been underway now for a few years.
Yes.
In fact,
the stakes are high. I think whatever they agree upon is good for 40 or 50 years.
Right.
So we also have a water quality monitoring department. And
that relies heavily on volunteers, right?
Yes. It's a very big volunteer program.
It's
yes.
very well organized.
Yep. Go to ctriver.org if you want to volunteer. We've got a lot of opportunities. We have an aquatic invasive management program, which also employs volunteers, and that's watershed wide as well. Everything is posted on our website when we have opportunities. We also love people to come and help us plant trees. So hopefully I'll have some volunteers come out to Wild Ammo when we're ready to do the planting.
We'll make sure we get the word out if you let us know when you're going to need them.
Okay, I will. Often we hire a team just because volunteers might not be able to do the whole amount if it's hundreds of trees. In this case, we're going to be planting about 400 trees, I'd say. So that's maybe sometimes too much for a volunteer group to do it. So we have a supplementary hired crew too.
This particular project, you talked at length about how many years it's taken and so forth. And would you tell us a little bit about where the funding came from and some of the organizations that have been helping and coming up with the funds?
Okay. Well, our partners are, of course, Woodsville Water and Light Department, U.S. Forest Service, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, New Hampshire DES, the Dam Removal and River Restoration Program, New Hampshire Fish and Game, and the town of Haverhill. Also, we received our biggest slug of funding from the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, which was the Upper Mitigation and Enhancement Fund I talked about earlier.
That money is dedicated to the Connecticut River Valley as a result of the settlement for the 50 Mile Falls relicensing many years ago.
Yes.
I mean, that funding is watershed related, right?
Yes, they have a service area specifically outlined.
Right.
The New Hampshire Fish and Game provided a large portion of funding.
They did.
Yes. And
where did that funding come? Did you tell me the moose plate, for instance?
No, there's two state funds.
Okay.
New Hampshire Fish and Game was the fish fund. I forget the name of it.
Okay.
Sorry to say. Jared Lamy is our partner there and helped me out a lot with the project.
Okay.
And we also got some funding from the New Hampshire Moose Plate grant.
Oh, okay.
And if you out there have purchased a moose plate license plate, you may be able to contribute to a project like this.
Oh, okay. Great.
U.S. Forest Service also provided a good amount of funding for the floodplain work. And that's it.
So it really is a joint effort.
It really is. Every single one of our projects counts on partners like this, and multiple grants. It's never just one thing.
Right.
And we don't operate in a vacuum. This was an incredible team, actually, because there's federal funds involved. We have to do a lot of permitting requirements.
Sure.
So that takes a lot of effort, and everybody in the U.S. Forest Service was incredibly great. They did that process very quickly.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, the days of just running out in the river with a piece of equipment are long gone, hopefully.
Nope, can't do it. Yeah. Everything is protected.
Good. As the project manager, can you give us an idea when you think this will wrap up?
I think 2 to 3 weeks. And there may be another additional week of sort of backing out and taking out the bridge and putting the site,
And then after that, you do the tree planting and so forth?
Yes. I think we will be doing some of the bank planting, like the immediate near the stream planting this fall with live stakes of dogwood and willow. And then we have some other shrubs and things and trees that will be planted maybe next spring, probably.
Okay, good. Hey, by the way, have you found any gold? I know around here everybody talks about panning for gold on the Wild Ammonoosuc.
I know. We had several interested parties asking me about that. And I did get a pan, and I tried it. And I tried one pan, and I got one fleck and decided that is not for me.
You haven't given up your job at the Conservancy yet.
Nope. Nope. I'm not quitting my day job for that.
Okay, good. Well, anyways, the idea of dam removals is very important to many of us. And having one local where a lot of us are familiar with it. And I would encourage any of you listeners out there, if you have some time, drive up 112. You'll see it on the right if you're headed up the Lost River Road. And you'll see what all these organizations, I should say, not people, have done and are doing to improve the quality of our watershed. So with that, Becky, is there anything else you'd like to say tonight?
Well, I'm extremely proud and glad that I could be up here for this summer. I used to live in Franconia, so it's like coming home for me, and I love it here. So I'm very happy that I could do a project for everybody here.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And for you listeners out there, we'll keep you posted on when we need some volunteers to help with the tree planting and putting that river corridor back to the way it was naturally. Thank you.
All right. And that was a conversation that Gary Moore had with Rebecca Budd of the Connecticut River Conservancy. And as you heard, they talked about the planned removal of the Wild Ammonoosuc Dam in Landaff. And so coming up after these important messages, a wrong step on the trail can change your whole day. Coming up on our summer activities report, our final summer activities report of 2026, I talk with Todd Holt about sprained ankles, hiking safety, and being prepared for heading out into the woods, and what you should know when an injury happens miles from the trailhead. That's coming up right after these important messages.
It's the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
At R&L Archery, we know it's not just about the thrill of the hunt or the size of the fish. It's about the moments that matter most, the traditions passed down from one generation to the next, and the stories told by the fire long after the sun is set. It's about the journey, the memories, and the time spent together with friends and family, because these are the moments that truly last a lifetime. R&L Archery, where every adventure begins. Come create your story.
So where's the big deal?
Holy schmoly, it's Matt LeCuyer at the Auto Saver Group, St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. It's the Ram Power Days right now in St. Johnsbury, Vermont. We have specials and savings that can save you thousands of dollars. 2025 Ram 1500, Crew Cab, Bighorn, four-wheel drive, lease for only $4.99 per month for 42 months with zero down. Stop by today, St. Johnsbury, Vermont, or shop us on the web at stjohnsburycdjr.com.
Leases for 10,000 miles per year, 35,000 total miles, 25 cents per mile over. Tax, title, registration extra. Must have current Stellantis brand lease and household to qualify. First payment due at signing. Offer expires 9/30/24.
You've picked the paint colors, maybe even sketched a layout on the back of an envelope, or made the playlist for your grand opening. But without a design, it's just a dream. Riverside Design Works in Bradford makes those dreams real for families and small businesses across the Upper Valley. Affordable, functional, and community-focused, we build for your needs and within your budget. But heads up, the 2026 construction season is booking fast. If you want shovels in the ground next year, you need plans today. Keep it simple. Riverside Design Works. Smart choices, reliable results.
So we're excited to have over the phone with us Todd Holt from Todd Holt Physical Therapy. Todd, how you doing?
Hey, Josh, I'm doing great, thanks. How you been?
I've been really well, and you know what? I don't want to alarm anybody, but people are I saw Christmas decorations in the store the other day.
Well, my wife bought some Halloween candy. That's not quite so extreme, but right. Holy cow!
Yeah, it's coming up, man. Yeah, and so you want to talk about ankle sprains, huh?
Well, I've been doing a lot of hiking lately, and biking, hiking, and something that people underestimate is how disabling an ankle sprain can be. And once you sprain it, man, it becomes a big problem sometimes for life. But if you talk to a surgeon, ask any surgeon, would you rather break your ankle or sprain your ankle? And surgeons will say, break it, because the bones will heal. But unfortunately, sometimes when you break your ankle, you sprain it too. But a sprain, just torn ligaments, they don't always heal, or they don't always heal correctly, or they're stretched out, and that becomes a big problem for future sprains. From a physical therapy standpoint, we're often trying to work on strengthening some of the weaker muscle groups. Sometimes your ankle tendons can substitute for the loose ligaments that you've stretched out after you sprain it. And there's ankle braces. There's splints, braces, orthotics, things like that too can often be helpful as well.
And do you see then what, I guess my follow-up question to that though is this the time of year where you see a lot of ankle sprains, or this is something that you're going to see year round?
Absolutely, yeah. Wintertime's a common time to sprain it too, because the slip and falls on the ice and twisting on the ice. But summertime, everybody's getting out. So that's what brought me into talking about this topic is people getting out hiking on uneven terrain. My daughter and I hiked Black Mount last night, and I'm going, oh boy, I hope none of us sprain our ankles. But in my backpack, I did have an ankle brace just to be prepared. But man, I was surprised at how steep and rocky that was. I knew it was kind of steep, but I didn't know it was quite as rocky as it was, and a little bit wet. So I was the whole time going, please don't sprain my ankle. Don't want my daughter to sprain her ankle, or our friend Michael who came along too. Yeah.
But I guess you're in good company if you're actually going hiking with a physical therapist, though.
Well, and Michael's a massage therapist. My daughter's PT assistant, but she's got to take her boards still. Taking those in October. Yeah, she graduates. So I guess we could all fix each other.
Right, there you go. From the perspective of being prepared, because I know last month you're talking about how important stretching is before you do an activity. Is this something that you would also see that you see an increase in prevention of ankle sprains if you do stretches ahead of time?
So actually, I do tend to do heel cord stretches just to stretch my Achilles tendon. Not so much for sprain, but Achilles tendon strains can be pretty bad too. And if you stretch your ankle out a little bit before you do a big hike, it's a good idea. I'll also stretch my back. I'll bend down, touch my toes. Just some basic heel cord stretch, standing flexion, stretch, pull my heel to my buttock, stretch the quads. Yeah, so I do a little stretching prior, and actually stretching after is super important too. There's $1 million question. People say, what's more important, stretching before or stretching after? Well, stretching before is good for injury prevention, but stretching after, if you're prone to get a lot of that muscle soreness, stretching after is super important. Going back to the ankle stuff, stretching's good. wearing proper shoe wear, something with a little support. If you're going on I wish when I was hiking Black Mount yesterday, I wish I had a little bit better. I had hiking sneakers on, but not something that supported my ankle a little bit. So really, if I'm going to do something like that, I probably should have a little bit better supportive shoe wear. So that's super important. If you're doing something that's extreme, going out some big 4,000 foot hikes, try to have proper shoe wear, something that supports your ankle, goes up a little bit higher, and just be careful, especially on uneven things. You don't want to twist your ankle, especially 3 miles out on a trail.
And how beneficial is it to actually have like a hiking stick or a walking stick with you when you go hiking?
Well, yeah, you know what? A friend of mine that I hike with a lot, he's really avid about having hiking poles. I don't always use hiking poles. I have some, but I guess it depends on the terrain. But he swears by them, and I think that if you inadvertently slip and your hands are supporting something, you can not only have that extra proprioceptive feedback from the poles, but your arms might actually catch you and prevent a fall too. Sometimes the poles can kind of get in the way too with doing certain things like climbing, but I think for the most part, they're improved safety having poles.
Right. And what would you recommend then too from a physical therapy perspective when it comes to hiking is what else should people be prepared for? You mentioned stretches, you mentioned some good hiking boots. What else would you suggest our listeners to be prepared for?
I think important thing is, you want to work up in intervals. So you don't want to start out with the biggest mountain. You want to start out and work up in gradual. So actually, a lot of locals around here, Mount Gardner right behind us, it's such an awesome little hike. It's like a 45-minute hike, but it's super steep. And start with something maybe like that, and then actually it's steep, so that could be prone to cause sprains. But on the other hand, something that's not too overly exertional to start with. Don't start with like a huge mountain like Lafayette or something like that. You want to work up in intervals so you don't injure yourself. Not just your ankles. I mean everything. ACL injuries, knee injuries, patella injuries, shoulder injuries when you fall. So
well, and
I think that's important.
Right. And also too, we're at that point too where like late summer, early fall is peak hiking season because it's not as hot during the daytime and it's going to look pretty gorgeous outside too.
Oh yeah, it's getting nice. Yeah, that's so true. Yep. So everybody get out there and be active. I mean, that's the best thing I can say, but also be careful at the same time.
Right. Well, and that's a good point is that you brought up. When you have people coming in, do you see more people coming for physical therapy who are prone to be more active, or are people prone to be less active going for physical therapy?
I think probably more active, but then we do have the other ones that tend to be injured because of being sedentary. And, we have to explain to them that, laying on the couch doesn't always cause you to heal. You have to do exercises to heal.
Right.
Yeah, that's a huge, it's one extreme to the other.
Right.
But it seems like more often people tend to injure themselves being, I think, overly active and maybe just not slowing down. Yep.
Right. And so when someone comes in with a sprained ankle or some ankle injury, what should they expect from Todd Holt Physical Therapy?
So we'll definitely give them some strengthening exercises. We'll probably work on the range of motion limitations. So if there's tight certain directions, we might stretch. And definitely strengthening. That's the biggest thing is ankle stabilization exercises, using rubber bands, TheraBands. We'll do standing tippy toes, going up on tippy toes, heel raises, things like that. And gradually just progress the exercise along. And usually they'll come along and they'll do okay on their own. And it's something that if you sprain it bad enough, sometimes you do require surgery. So if they don't get better with physical therapy, it's not the last step, it's the first step. And then if they're not getting better, refer them on to ortho.
Right.
Yep.
So we're talking to Todd Holt from Todd Holt Physical Therapy. So Todd, if there is, at what point should people reach out to you if they notice something's wrong with their ankle?
Yes, if you sprain your ankle and you're having trouble with it, you can give me a call. Start with a call. If it's something that you think is not getting better, you probably can see your doctor first. They might do x-rays because you do have to rule out a fracture. They can break it. Your fibula is pretty easy to break. So they might go to the doctor first or the ER, urgent care, something like that, get some imaging, and then probably physical therapy after that.
Okay. All right. And Todd, and you have an easy number to remember. You have a great location. Do you want to remind our listeners your phone number and your location?
Yeah. 802-757-8000. It's a number I can remember.
And you're right next to Big Cones, too.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep. Kill two birds with one stone.
There you go. All right.
Go to Big Cones first or go to Big Cones after.
That's right. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Todd. And once again, I learned something every time you come on.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Good talking to you.
It's a St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
We want to take a couple of minutes to welcome one of our local businesses supporting Outdoor Edge here on WYKR, Precision Towing and Recovery of Corinth, Vermont. If you spend much time outdoors here in Vermont and New Hampshire, you know getting there is sometimes half the adventure. Maybe you're heading down a back road to your favorite fishing hole, hauling equipment for a weekend project, towing the camper, heading for a trailhead, or just trying to get home when the weather turns. And every once in a while, things don't go quite according to plan. That's when it's good to know that you got a local company like Precision Towing and Recovery around. Precision Towing and Recovery provides towing, recovery, roadside assistance, and equipment hauling with an emphasis on taking care of your vehicle and getting the job done right. And being based right here in Corinth, they understand the kinds of roads we travel. Around here, we've got mud season, washouts, steep hills, dirt roads, snow, ice, potholes, and plenty of places where you can get yourself into a predicament in a hurry. In fact, that's the idea behind something you'll be hearing from Precision Towing on WYKR called the Precision Prediction. Every week, they'll be making a prediction about something that's probably going to happen to at least one driver around here. Maybe somebody's going to discover that the mud is deeper than it looks. Maybe somebody's going to look at a snowy hill and say, I think I can make it. Or maybe that check engine light you've been ignoring finally decides that it wants your attention. Whatever the season brings you, it's nice knowing that there are local folks ready to help you when they need them. We appreciate Precision Towing and Recovery for supporting local radio and for joining us as a sponsor of the Outdoor Edge. You can learn more about Precision Towing and Recovery and the services they offer at precisiontowingandrecoveryvt.com. And now let's get back to the Outdoor Edge on WYKR, your country.
We live somewhere incredible, and all of us at the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department want you to make the most of it. Hiking, hunting, birding, fishing, or even just sitting by a stream for a few minutes after work. Vermont's woods and waters make it possible, and protecting them is our responsibility. So we hope you'll lace up your boots and hike an old woods road on one of our wildlife management areas, or put in for a day at the lake at one of our access areas. We protect these places for their own sake, for the wildlife who call them home, and for you.
Every business story starts small. As you share your story, it creates movement, and movement builds momentum. Your social media and website are the conduits for that story. It's about more than clicks and views. It's about creating connection, community, and opportunity to do business. It's time to tell your story. Go to northeastkingdomonline.com. Our local Vermont team can help you get more from your online media. Once again, that's northeastkingdomonline.com.
At R&L Archery, we know it's not just about the thrill of the hunt or the size of the fish. It's about the moments that matter most, the traditions passed down from one generation to the next, and the stories told by the fire long after the sun is set. It's about the journey, the memories, and the time spent together with friends and family, because these are the moments that truly last a lifetime. R&L Archery, where every adventure begins. Come create your story.
In this part of the world, summer always feels a little bit borrowed. So when the sun's out, folks around here put it to good use. Whether it's fishing, target practice, or just looking for an excuse to stay outside till dark, CCR Sports in St. Johnsbury has the gear and supplies to help. Before the weekend gets away from you, make sure you're ready for it. Visit ccrsports.net today. CCR Sports has something for all seasons and all ages. And summer's too short to spend half of it looking for what you need. That's ccrsports.net.
From the Fairbanks Museum in St. Johnsbury, the forecast for this evening, mostly cloudy, then clearing. Areas of valley fog, lows in the upper 40s to lower 50s. Friday, morning valley fog burning off, then mostly sunny. Highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s, north to northeast winds 5 to 10. Saturday, some early fog, then increasing clouds, chance of an afternoon shower. Highs in the low to mid 70s. I'm meteorologist Lawrence Hayes for WYKR.
So as you can see, we ended up doing the regular weather forecast. I'm just going to message from Mark Breen. He got stuck. He got stuck in the Canadian border, so he wasn't able to send us the Outdoor Edge forecast in time. Hey, but that's fine. You know what? We pivot. We have fun with it. And that's going to do it this week for St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge. Our thanks to Rebecca Budd from the Connecticut River Conservancy for taking us into the Wild Ammonoosuc Dam removal project and explaining what restoring a free-flowing stretch of river could mean for fish, wildlife, and the future of this watershed. Thanks as well to Todd Holt for joining us on the Summer Activities Report for some good reminders about sprained ankles, hiking safety, and being prepared when you head out into the woods. If you missed something, you can catch this episode and every past edition of The Outdoor Edge anytime at WYKR.com, the WYKR app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, stay safe on the trail, enjoy the outdoors, and thanks for listening to the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge.